They've taken the extra mirror balls down from the Tower Ballroom. All the ice cream has melted. The donkeys are back to their day jobs, and everyone is sleeping off the after party on the train back home. That was Blackpool. Welcome to the Keep Dancing podcast. I'm Ellie and I'm your host. Tonight I'm joined by Elliot and Meg. We are your 100% unofficial, unexpurgated and 10 happy source of Strictly Come Dancing analysis and opinions. We aren't neutral, we aren't always polite, but we are willing to go buy fish and chips from Pasha. If you'd like to get in touch with us, email us at keepdancingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter and Instagram at keepdancingpod. We're also on all of the platforms now, so look for us on Spotify, YouTube, and at keepdancingpodcast.com. And please tell your friends about the podcast. Blackpool, eh?
Woo!
They got
Woo!
People who've been to Blackpool this year is a group that now includes Brittany and Gloria Estefan.
And the cast of Strictly Come Dancing.
But not me.
No.
In fact, you've been to Blackpool this year, Elliot.
I have.
So you're now in the same category as Brittany, Gloria Estefan, and the entire cast of Strictly.
I feel like that, for lack of a better word, is an LGBT's, like, I dream to be in the same category as Brittany and Gloria Estefan, so I'll take it.
Marvellous. And I am, sitting recording this wearing a homemade replica of one of the big coral showgirl costumes that all of the ladies were wearing in the Gloria Estefan number.
It must be a bit awkward with the microphone.
The
feathers not get in the way.
I am having to keep the feathers tossed well back. Shall we review some routines then? Because, it's all about the dance. Dancing the salsa and giving us those sparkly Eurovision 1996 feels is Stacey Dooley and her partner, Kevin. Now, I think that Kevin is pandering to us now. He's specifically pandering to me.
Are you feeling trolled by Kevin Clifton now?
I am now feeling... I'm feeling very seen. I'm feeling very attacked. I'm feeling like, when you have been talking about something in your living room and then a couple of hours later you look and your Instagram targeted ads are suddenly all about that thing, like, say, portable air conditioners. I feel like... I feel like Kevin is now constructing these routines specifically to get at my weak points. We had the Doctor Who tango, and now he has brought us Gina G. The only way he could have targeted my Eurovision gland more is if it had have been a dance to Lonely Symphony by Francis Raffel.
So he won't come on the podcast, but he will troll you with the dance themes.
He would come on the podcast, but scheduling has been difficult.
As we can only assume.
Yeah, he's a busy man.
I mean, to be fair, didn't realise Strictly or Kevin were Eurovision fans. We don't know if Stacey is a Eurovision fan or not, because, again, didn't give much of a hint, considering there's her and the song. And Bruno clearly hasn't either, saying that she looked like Kylie Minogue instead of Gina G.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Considering she was styled a bit like Gina G, especially with the hair.
Yeah, the hair was exactly the Gina G iconic haircut. The dress, not so much, but you couldn't have had Stacey in the iconic Cher cast-off that she wore in Oslo, because that would be too similar to her launch show dress, because it was sort of gold coin sequins.
Yeah, but you could have had, like, the backing dancers in those terrible outfits that the backing dancers had in the pink and yellow ones.
Or had some old 386s in the background. That wouldn't have been the most incongruous prop, let's be honest.
No, but
No.
It set the tone of what this night was going to be when Stacey came in on a stick of rock, and I was like, of course. Just like, why not?
I think she should have been whooping her hand a bit more. You can't just sort of sit primly on a stick of rock. You have to whoop it
No,
up.
there's no elegant way she could have sat on that when she was straddled over it. There was no way of doing it.
Side saddle on a stick of rock.
Oh, ask the health and safety when I let her do that. So I don't have one leg either side. You can't sit prim and proper. You've got to do it like this. It felt more of a team dance than a Stacey and Kevin dance though, because Kevin didn't dance with her much, and he was off camera for a fair bit of it as well.
Maybe he was a bit embarrassed by his shirt.
Or the trousers.
I'd be more embarrassed by his trousers, to be honest.
I suppose you could probably style the shirt down with some plain jeans.
Yeah, but those trousers,
They were not plain.
there's no going back from those. I don't know, I actually found... I felt a bit more like that I got an idea about Stacey from this one, and I don't know if it's just because of It Takes Two, where she was talking about the song and, going out with the girls in the 90s and doing that 90s hair style that she sort of demonstrated. And she kind of lit up a bit, and I felt like, oh, is this actually a song that Stacey likes? Of all the songs that she has danced to.
How old is she? Because I think it could be a song that Stacey actually likes.
I want to say early 30s.
Stacey
Younger than
Dooley,
me.
age 31.
Yeah, definitely younger than me.
Yeah. Yeah, so she is exactly the right age for this to have been something that she danced to throughout her late teens and her early drinking years.
Yes.
Stacey Dooley investigates Eurovision.
Well, we had Will Ferrell in Lisbon, so why not? Seriously, why not?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
as somebody doing a big serious documentary about all of the shenanigans, that would be good.
Yeah. This just felt just a bit frantic though, and I did notice that when they cut back to the postcard bit, like when they were set out as postcards, so they had the 3 different shots, Stacey wasn't ready, so she's kind of sat there, then she's like, oh wait, I'm on, and starts waving, whilst everyone else is already waving to their cameras and she wasn't. I did notice that, and that was a bit awkward.
Well, what you said during the week had me worried when we were talking about the BPM and how this was just on the upper edge of what you could potentially salsa to.
It feels more like with the heavy beat, it's more like something you could do an ice skating routine to, because obviously your pacing when in skates is different. And it felt like you could do an ice routine to this, but not a salsa with any clear technique and concept. And that's why they completely butchered and just really sort of like... The Strictly band didn't do a great cover of this, I felt. Like, they changed one of the instruments and, like, made it too high, it felt like, key-wise. But something has to change to it, otherwise Stacey would not have been able to do a routine.
Yeah. If it's suitable for an ice skating routine, though, I bet they'll get Sarah doing Eurovision.
Of course you will.
Yeah.
Week 1.
Yeah, I really liked... She had good hips, I thought. But it was otherwise really stumpy. And just a bit... not entirely connected.
All of her party Latin has been heavy on the party and light on the Latin. So she's always been able to communicate the fun to us, but she's lacking in the sort of precise technique when it comes out on the Saturday night.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, but as a competition dance, it lacked many of the things you needed.
It would have looked great
like,
in week
cohesion.
1. It would have looked astonishing in week 1.
Oh,
but
in week 1 it would have been like, what?
Yeah, how did you do that? But it's now week 9. We're in Blackpool. We were already saying last week that Stacey's still a likely finalist, but is she improving fast enough to win?
Don't know.
Likely.
Have to see. Is she back on ballroom next week?
Oh, I can't remember if they said a dance or not. They said quite a few of them.
She's doing the passo next week.
Oh, yeah, she's got a passo.
Oh,
So that's
That
kind
could
of make
be-
or break, really.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think if she doesn't nail this, then it's a bit of a worry. I was thinking Stacey was in the dance-off tonight because I looked at the leaderboard, there was a 3-way tie, she was 5th overall, and obviously the 3 below her all have fan bases and all proven to be quite popular, and we don't actually know how strong Stacey's televote is purely because she's never really been in that sort of danger, so I did think she could fall in the bottom 2. I was fully expecting her to be down there.
Well, she's just sort of escaped.
yeah. I feel she's a bit like Gemma this year.
Yeah.
In that they had a lot of kind of wobbles, and then they kind of. I mean, I think Gemma was in the dance-off, and Stacey obviously hasn't been. But I think she will get through to the final if she pulls this passo off. But I don't think she's going to win.
No, because I think somebody else has won this week. But I really did like it, and I've now got another dance to add to my Strictly versus Eurovision playlist, which lovely Heidi linked to from the Guardian Live blog, which was fun.
Yeah. I was reading that and I was like, I know that person. I was like, that has to be my Ellie. It can't be some other random Ellie.
Yeah, I guess.
The Venn diagram there was basically you in the middle.
Yeah, just me there. That person. So Stacey and Kevin, well done. Dancing the Argentine tango and contemplating feeding inconvenient dance partners to sharks, it's Lauren Steadman and her partner, AJ. I'm starting to think that the roles have reversed now, and it's now Lauren suggesting increasingly ridiculous VT concepts to AJ and just seeing whether he'll go along.
She's trolling him. She is A-grade trolling AJ at the moment.
Just practicing it underwater is, and with AJ's
Sharks.
weird sort of swimming voice. He didn't sound okay while he was in the wetsuit and sort of sloshing about. That was one of the weirdest training VTs they've ever done.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some weird-ass VTs, but that one was pretty high on the scale.
And I know that Blackpool has a sea life centre, but sharks aren't really a major feature of the pleasure beach.
No, I mean, Brighton has a sea life centre, and I don't think they don't exactly advertise sharks, I don't think.
Sea life centres aren't even about being near the sea. Birmingham's got a sea life centre.
Well, that's so those poor landlocked Brummies can see what the sea is like.
It's just aquariums full of shopping trolleys. So,
And with that, onto the dancing.
yeah, so...
It was okay.
I liked the little river effect with the big sheet and Lauren popping through the hole in the sheet. I thought that was nice, although it did feel a bit sort of thanks bye for all of the spare pros who just had to go make themselves immediately scarce after about 5 seconds.
Which I don't always think's a bad thing, because sometimes it does feel a bit like there's too many pros on the dance floor.
Yeah, like this...
Especially when you're doing something like a passo. It'd be a bit weird.
She just... So, there's a reason why the Argentine tangos only come in towards the end of the series, and it's because you have to be really, really good to even make them look average. And Lauren wasn't doing the hardest Argentine tango choreography ever, but it still did seem a little bit much for her.
Yes.
Which she sort of pulled it off, and I don't want to be like Craig level harsh here, but it didn't really work.
She has some excellent core strength.
Yes.
That, I think, her triathlete training definitely helped her here, because there were times where I was just like, my stomach muscles hurt and I'm sitting slouched on the sofa, just watching that. But yeah, it didn't...
There was a lot of strength in the core, but not so much tension in the legs.
No, the legs were probably the weaker part. Yeah. That and, having to dance with AJ, but I'm trying to be nice.
No, she's alright with dancing with AJ now.
Now. Yeah, I liked this, but it was lacking some grit and attack. Like, mainly in the legs. Like, the lifts were nice and everything, but yeah, something was just, like, lacking and you could see it. And, yeah, it just didn't go well, sadly. As much as we wanted it to, it sadly didn't.
I don't actually have massive amounts to say about it, because, like, I know it was a really good try, but it sort of missed the mark for me.
I was a little surprised, actually, that it wasn't in the dance-off, just because she was right at the bottom of the leaderboard. But she does have a televote presence that...
Yeah, she certainly does.
Does.
Yeah, which is bigger than I anticipated.
Well, and I think Craig being mean to her acted as a call to action to get people to vote. And AJ's online following, I think, are fairly heavy voters.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we've never locked horns with them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And also, I think he's maybe riding a bit high in public consciousness, what with The Hunted.
Oh yes, he is the hide-and-seek champion.
But it brings his name and face up to people that, and obviously they've seen him outside of a dancing context, so I wonder if maybe that's also helped with the voting.
People are warming to AJ. Of all of the things that's happened this year. Dancing the couple's choice, theatre jazz, and running up and down the tram pulling the emergency brake, it's Graham Swan and his partner, Oti.
I have got to complain about the music.
Okay.
I don't even know... I mean, okay, yes. So it's the Strictly singers doing their best. But that wasn't even the original Meet Me in Trolley song from Meet Me in St. Louis. That was like a weird version written for like multiple voices. It was weird. I did not love it. So as long as I tried to forget what the original soundtrack sounded like, it was fine. And to be honest, I was distracted by watching the always lovely Oti. I don't think of this as being a big iconic musicals number, and also it's not musicals week. Was this on the show because trams are a thing in Blackpool? Probably.
Potentially, yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's a fairly key song in the musical, but it's not a dancing song in the musical. There are other sort of more key dancing songs in Meet Me in St. Louis, but I suspect they chose it because they're in Blackpool.
Yeah. I would rather have seen Graham Swan doing No Dames from Hail Caesar.
Oh,
Which is
that's one of the things I yell when
No dames.
when I shut my finger in the door or something. I tend to yell, "Channing Tatum dancing in a sailor suit." Oh god, I love that sequence.
It's one of my favourite musical numbers ever.
The rest of the movie has issues, but that sequence is just
beautiful,
beauty.
Joyous.
And we're getting away from Graham and OT now.
I think in my head, I'm just going to paste No Dames over it and just assume, I'm just going to start talking about that time that Graham and Oti did No Dames on Strictly. And, everybody, I'm just going to do it with a lot of confidence, and everybody's just going to assume I was right.
And everyone's going to be like, well, she's really into Strictly, so she must be right.
She wouldn't get something like that wrong.
No, that'd be madness.
Yeah. Obviously, it was a very stagey routine. I have seen my fair share of musicals. That was and I've been in some on an amateur basis, and that was definitely a prop-heavy ensemble dance routine from a musical. And
yes.
I don't know whether... I suppose that means it's good for couples' choice theatre jazz, but I don't know if, as an artistic endeavour, it is good. As a Strictly dance, it is good. It just is.
Yeah. I like that Graham coped well with the other male pros. He wasn't out of sync with them. And there were lots of very sweet touches. And I know Graham really loved this one, but I'm not entirely sure that theatre jazz is really his thing. I don't think he's entirely suited to it.
I mean, he's always been a frustrated performer because he's been doing the music sort of as an amateur along with his cricket, and at some somebody will stunt cast him in a musical.
Oh yeah, it'll be like a jukebox, David Essex.
I don't know.
Musical.
A musical about the life of Geoffrey Boycott. I don't know.
The Duckworth Lewis method.
That's an actual band.
Yeah, get them to soundtrack the musical. It's a cricket musical. Yeah, they could have a whole thing about the ball of the century.
I mean, you could even call it How's That? And it's already got an exclamation mark at the end of it. Okay, so Cricket the Musical, Graham Swan, coming to the West End, 2020. Now
Lots of zinc face paint. It would be great.
One moment about the show and Strictly.
Do you join in, Elliot?
As this has just heard, as we are just going round and round and round in God knows what fashion tonight.
We're making our own entertainment.
Do you get the feeling that the public have turned on Graham slightly? The fact he's been in the dance-off 2 weeks running. Because I thought this was really good, and we have said he's had the support, but it looks like online people are saying he shouldn't be there anymore, and I don't think that's entirely true or fair. No. He should be there. He deserves a spot there, and everyone needs to shut up. Because I really liked this. I thought it was really cute and charming, and OT dressed like someone from some other what's the
Mary
period
Poppins.
drama? Yes, that's the one. Thank you. If she did get an umbrella slowly fly away, I would have just started cackling, to be fair.
OT is Mary Poppins, though. Oh my goodness.
That would be amazing, although she was dressed fairly accurately for Meet Me in St. Louis. The dress style-wise, which is the same era as Mary Poppins and Sid Warden.
The big leg of mutton sleeves.
Except for being American. But yeah, no, that was definitely. I wonder. The VT was a bit odd, but then all the couple's choice VTs have been a bit odd.
The sort of
they've all been a bit
story.
sort of yes, except Graham's personal story seemed to be cricket.
Well, Stacey's was. Stacey's personal story was, I need to get shot at for fun. Like, that's what hers was.
True.
And Faye's was, I don't want to be known as Faye Steps anymore, even though that's what I've been known as for the last 20 years of my life.
The couple's choice VTs don't go with the couple's choice dancers unless
Not
it's
at
going
all.
to be a deep and meaningful contemporary. So Lauren's one just about worked, and Ashley's one worked because that was explaining, that was in effect
explaining the
explaining
wafting.
where all the emotion was coming from to power the wafting. Whereas I feel like, yeah, Graham's and Faye's should have just been like, yeah, I fancy a crack at some musicals. Let's do it. And Stacey's, I don't know, maybe she could have told us about how much she likes New York as well as Alicia Keys. Or something about herself, damn it.
You make it sound like she's allowed an input.
I'm sure she's allowed an input. But yeah, Couple's Choice, it continues to be a really weird innovation. I'm sort of getting used to it. We do still have one Couple's Choice left, and I think it's an interesting one for you guys. Joe has to do one now. He's the last Couple's Choice that's available.
Last couple's choice standing.
Yes.
So intriguing.
I can't remember whether it was Chris or whether it was Stephen who pointed this out, but they pointed out that everybody who's been eliminated right now hasn't done a couple's choice routine, and everybody who's still in, apart from Joe, has done one. So I feel like couple's choice is splitting top half from bottom half.
I wonder if it's sort of humanizing some of them.
I did think he managed to sharpen it up for the dance-off.
Yes.
Like the points and the taps and everything with the umbrella were a lot sharper the second time around. But obviously, because it was just still the same routine, and I was just a bit about the routine, the level of performance quality could never really do anything to save it for me.
Yeah.
Because it was what it was.
Yeah, that is the problem, I think, with the couple's choice routines, is that they are so contained within themselves that short of doing something like starting the original on the wrong foot and then starting the right one, starting your dance off on the right foot, there's not a huge amount you can do to improve your technique, etc.
Yeah. And you can't particularly compare the couple's choices dancers with each other.
No, because even when they have done the same type, like Faye and Oti, they're so
very particular.
completely different.
Obviously, we can compare the contemporary dancers a bit.
Yes.
But
you can't really compare MGM Musical to Bob Fosse.
No.
Just doesn't work.
Just
apples to pears.
Different art forms. So, yeah, I'm glad that Graham and Oti got through that. And
yes.
He's onwards and upwards next week. Hopefully,
I don't think he's got long to go, though.
No, he's out in the next couple of weeks, surely.
Yeah, 1 or 2 weeks.
He'll probably avoid a rumba, but if
they're so hard for the man.
Yeah, if I was Oti, it might be time to deploy that quick step.
Yeah.
Although maybe something a bit less complicated and a bit lower energy, because it's also the Lindy challenge.
Oh,
yeah.
I refuse to call it a fun.
One final point is that it's very bizarre. We've got 2 people still in the show that have survived 3 dance-offs each. That's very rare.
Yes.
Like, we're used to seeing one being multiple dance-offs, but we've now got two that have been in multiple dance-offs now.
It has felt a little bit like the boys are protected species this year.
Even when one of them is basically a non-entity in terms of voting.
Yeah. Just so it's not turning into 5 girls and Joe Sugg. I feel like there's been some protection for the boys. But they would never do that because you judge it on the dance on the day.
Of course.
Dancing the Paso Doble, sitting in a room surrounded by flames, thinking, this is fine. It's Feitosa and her partner, Giovanni. I do like Fierce Faye. Fierce Faye is good.
I feel like I would just like to say that I'm pretty sure that Gio's polo neck was the same one that the James Bond themed Blackpool.
David, you can just buy. Look,
it's a very traditional mesh Latin top.
Yeah,
it wasn't strictly special. It's a very traditional mesh Latin top.
I just wondered if they'd found it in the dressing rooms and thought, "Oh, this would be great again."
Probably. just stick it on a wash. Make sure it doesn't shrink. You're golden.
Nobody wears proper tops in in real competitive Latin and ballroom.
I like this paso.
This was another one of the routines, though, where it took me 2.5 goes before I found Faye because Johannes was just knocking it out of the park. Oh, yeah. Sorry, there we go again. Johannes just kept popping into shot and stealing the show during Blackpool, and the Paso Doble, I think, was the one where it happened the most.
Yeah.
Hardest working pro. I mean, he was in how many pro dances tonight?
Oh, he was
in a lot.
He was so good.
That's a lot of choreography to remember.
Yeah. And a lot of rehearsals to get to, and they're not all in the same place as well.
No.
I feel like this week they may have been because Johannes would have just walked in with a folder and just gone, these are my demands, I need this sorted if you want me in your number. Because he is an iconic sass queen. So we need to address that. He is sassy. So I can just imagine him walking in with like some shades, just flicking them up and saying, you want me in my number, name your price. I can just imagine it. But
I'm already rehearsing here, so if you're not rehearsing there, I cannot help you.
And this morning he just seemed so touched by everybody, I mean, including us, who'd tweeted him to say that he was the best thing about Blackpool this year. Pro for Johannes next year, please. Somebody fun that he can have a lovely time with.
Yeah, not some joke entry, please. Someone who you actually think could be quite serious because we want to see his choreography.
But somebody who's also personally a bit of a laugh, so that they can have comedy VT training gold and also do some lovely social media.
Who from this lot would you pair him with then? Going on that what's the word? Briefing. Who would fit Johannes the best out of this year's cast? I'm trying to think.
Vic.
Yeah, actually, yeah. And then Vic would still be dancing in Blackpool.
Yes.
Oh, but we wouldn't have seen Johannes in all of those 10 routines he was in.
Yes.
True.
We've wandered away from the actual people meant to be dancing.
Yeah, who are we talking about? Oh, Faye and Giovanni.
Funny.
That was a genuine question. I wasn't like saying it for comedic effect. I genuinely forgot who we were talking about then. Oh yeah, why was there a lift? How did she get 2 10s when they had a lift in a paso? Unless she's part gyroscope and she can just turn herself like that.
It's Blackpool, there's no rules apparently at Strictly.
Clearly. It's like...
Well, yeah, the judges seem to love that.
Well, it was very impressive, but again, it's a paso, it's not a show dance.
Yeah, but I think also when you've got that many backing dancers, they've got to do something.
Yeah, well, she could have just sent them away like Lauren.
Like Lauren did. I mean, I enjoyed this paso in so much that it was very theatrical. I mean, sparks were coming off Faye at times, which I liked. But yeah.
And we always like a big, ridiculously theatrical paso at Blackpool. It always looks great. It always forms a sort of a nice part of the show.
Sure. And they got the pyro out. Who doesn't love a bit of pyro?
Yeah, I didn't mind his routine, but I didn't love it. Like, yeah, I did notice her hair was quite similar to when she did the tango, like the sort of like up with parting thing. Like I felt like her hair was slightly similar to her tango hair-ish, just a bit neater. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but she's got a shape of face that really suits that updo.
Yeah.
I don't know whether being very competent but sort of neutral is going to work against or for Faye. Because
Yeah.
so when I was doing the It Takes Two Cynics with Ewan in the week, he was waxing lyrical about Ashley and about how he's realised who she is, and who she is a kooky weirdo.
I'm glad he's worked out who she is.
Well, like, you know, Ewan doesn't just say things. I thought on what he was saying, and like, actually, that is the character that Ashley's giving us. That is what she's doing. She is a bit of a kooky weirdo.
This might be a time for that weird sound clip again. Juicy nuggets.
Oh, yes. Juicy nuggets. And, you know, she was doing a slapstick routine with salt and vinegar in a fish shop. But for me, I've not had that moment where I go, oh, that's what Faye's like.
Yes.
And
I mean,
dancing...
even her VT was kind of like, I'm a mum, and I don't want to be called Faye from Steps anymore. But I'm a mum.
And Gio, even though we love Gio, he was the one when I was writing the tag yourself meme this afternoon, that everybody else, it was really easy to write 3 or 4 jokes, but for Gio, it was hard.
He's the Teflon pan of nice.
Yeah.
Just he's nice.
They're like a sort of a control couple. Like just the dancing.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to do an experiment on whether Strictly was was a personality popularity contest or a dancing contest, you would need to have a control couple in with just a totally neutral personality.
Yeah.
That you can neither stan nor hate. And for me, that's Faye and Gio.
Yeah, they're just there, aren't they? Like, what they're doing is very, very good, but it doesn't tell us who they are as people, as a couple. It's like, well, they dance great, but could I tell you more about it? Not really.
Yeah, I've no idea what it means.
But they dance great.
Yeah, it was
You're
really
always
great.
going to get a good dance. So even if there's been like a complete stinker beforehand, you can be guaranteed that, you know, Faye and Gio will be a nice dance to watch. What that dance means.
So what we're saying
Any
is that
guesses?
the British public demand meaning from art. Dancing the American Smooth, and wondering if you are actually allowed to go hot air ballooning in a ball gown. It's Kate Silverton and her partner, Aliash. Kate's not over her injury.
No.
No. So not.
It just looked so careful, that American Smooth.
It was just nice, and there was nothing else to it. It's like, it's lovely, but... Actually, no, my first line of notes was, last week the wedding, this week the honeymoon, ?
Yeah, that's what they kept going on It Takes Two this week. But yeah,
It wasn't so much. It wasn't really like it didn't have the sort of sense of a honeymoon. It had the sense of a sort of city break 5 years in. Everybody's very comfortable. Everybody's very happy. But she's no longer tearing his tie off like in week 1.
Yeah. No, I definitely felt like that was a dance that was being very careful for someone who had removed a muscle from her rib cage.
Yeah, and you could see that the dress had an extra nude panel in it because she was so bandaged up round the back. And
yeah, it kept giving her unfortunate side boob.
Yeah.
Like shoulder boobs. It was not good, but obviously necessary.
So it's nice that she's got to go out on a special occasion dancing in that beautiful ballroom, but...
And in a lovely dress. That dress was lovely.
And in a lovely dress, and fair and square, and not having to sort of withdraw and think about what might have been.
Did Anastasia withdraw? I can't remember. Or did she end up being danced out? But I can't remember if she ended up having to withdraw or if she just got danced out.
I think she got danced out. Was it?
Is this Anastasia?
Yeah. Was it Halloween?
Yeah, she got voted out, but in the first week when she was in the bottom 2, she refused to dance, so they had to go to the public vote, which meant she survived.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have a dance-off in the first week because she refused to dance. And I'm still upset about that, because that's you technically refusing to dance, and that's technically a withdrawal in my mind. She should have then been eliminated for not doing the dance-off.
So if you were in competition and you got injured such that you couldn't actually perform in a dance-off, you would have been deemed as withdrawing from the dance-off.
Yeah, if they call out your number and you can't go on the floor, your number is withdrawn. And if it's... Because we had this a few weeks in my competition, actually. We had 4 make the final. 1 withdrew because he was so unwell. And so they had to go down the list and see who was next through, because you couldn't have a three-couple final. And it turned out 3 couples were tied for 5th spot, so we all got through into the final instead. So if a couple withdraws, if they can, they will put another couple in. So if you deem yourself that you cannot compete and you're not fit to, like Anastasia did, you lose your spot. But it's your choice, not them saying, well, you can't dance. You have to make that decision yourself, like she did. So, yeah. But, it's never, like, bad going out when you're eliminated in Blackpool.
No, you've got to Blackpool.
Yeah, because
you've made it through the trenches of Halloween and musicals week.
No, movies week.
Movies week.
And there's going to be a messy after party, and you get a few weeks off to do your Christmas shopping, and then you're back for the final.
Yeah.
So it's a nice place to get knocked out.
You can possibly join in the watching groups with your fellow knocked out contestants and drink wine and be bitchy.
Hurrah!
I'm sad to see her go.
Yeah, I'm really sad to see her go, because she's given us some very fun moments. But ultimately, with the improvers group, there's only so far you can go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially while you're carrying a bad injury. Thank you, Kate.
Yes.
Thank you, Aliash. You've been fabulous.
Bye. We love you.
Dancing a samba that shows us exactly what more it was that Charles Venn was offering to the competition. It's Charles Venn and his partner, Karen. And it turns out that the more that Charles had to offer was he was going to take his top off.
Can I recurse myself from this one, because I can't.
You can't with him.
Even. My even is...
You can't.
No.
All right, Elliot. Was this what like I was enjoying this, and then somebody on Twitter said it was as good as Danny and Otis samba, and I just went no, don't be ridiculous.
Oh, that's laughable. Whoever said that, I'm sorry. And I'm not the biggest fan of Danny and Otis samba. Like, I'll be the biggest opener of that. I never got the wow factor from it. The problem is Danny could actually do more hip action than just in a lockstep, unlike Charles Venn. And Danny and Otis, it was just them on stage and not 6 other people. And my eyes stayed on Danny and Otis and not Johannes.
Johannes, the star
I'm
of the
sorry,
samba.
this was manic. It was better. It was good. He had good hip action. He had good body action. It was still it was still very narcissistic though. It still felt like he was just going to say, "Look at me, aren't I amazing?" I was just like, "Oh, sod off." Karen looked like Nicole Scherzinger. When they got their tens, it looked like someone had pulled the plug out the pair of them and they'd just gone haywire, because that was... They seem like the really annoying up-themselves couple at like a wedding or at a party. Just like, oh, we've just bought a house in France and we're going touring next year. Aren't we great? It's like, oh, sod off.
I didn't realise that Karen hadn't got a 10 yet.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
I
didn't realise either because she's made the final.
Yeah, I just assumed that she'd had a 10 before.
Like, she's made the final. Which proves you can get to the final without scoring a 10.
Yeah.
It's 7 years to get a 10. That's... And she's had some good partners as well, like... She's had some talent. So... It makes you question her choreography more than anything if it takes 7 years to get a 10.
That is a point.
As damning as that sounds, it makes you really think, like, well, where's the issue?
Have they attempted to eat any food this season?
No, they just talk about it backstage. They just talk about it backstage.
Yeah. I wonder if that's helping.
Karen has chicken. Oh, speaking of chicken, we have to talk about Shirley's. We have to talk about Shirley's chicken dance this week, which
I haven't seen it.
So
it's so bizarre.
It's so weird. It's so weird, Meg. So
it's like a dancer's fever dream.
Yeah. So she's not in a normal dressing gown, but she is still in lingerie.
Yes.
And she is in just a very small silk slip, and she's in a Winnebago, and she opens the Winnebago bedroom door, and she comes out. She's not even holding the chicken.
Right, I'm gonna briefly mute myself and watch this, because it's not going to be the world's longest thing.
Meanwhile, we'll try and talk about this dance.
Oh yes, this samba. Johannes was really good in it.
He was great.
Yeah. And but I don't think that choreographically that putting Charles flanked by the male pros was a good idea, because even though the judges were saying, I can't tell the difference between his hip action and Johannes's, you can.
Yeah, you easily could see who the professionals were and who the celebrity was in that situation.
Yeah.
But we don't go for Bruno for honest, realistic content and sound bites from him. We go for the crazy cuckoo Italian.
And Shirley essentially said she gave him a 10 because he took his top off, which no, Shirley, no. But it was
I'm back. My mind's been blown.
Oh yeah, you've seen Shirley's chicken dance. What did you think about the people who were swimming?
One of them looked like she was hypnotized.
Well,
someone else looked like she was staring at the ceiling and wishing she wasn't there. And
I'm
the
going for
blokes in the middle were kind of just going, I don't know what's going on here.
I'm going for cultists.
Yes, there was some eldritchness to that.
Especially when she was like slamming the fish down on the table and then exclaiming "chicken!"
while grabbing. I think she might have had like some fried chicken in that basket.
Yeah, it wasn't her normal chicken, and I wonder if that's why it was extra weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so while you were away watching Shirley's chicken dance, an erotic chicken dance in a Winnebago.
God, why is that a sentence that has to be said?
Strictly.
Yeah, we were trying to come up with something about Charles. I've got something. Charles clearly has got a mode of performance he's comfortable in, and it was nice to see him in his comfortable performance mode.
Yes, that's a nice thing to end on.
dancing a quick step that had me as thrilled about Brill Cream as I was about sequins and feathers. It's Joe Sugg and his partner Diane. Well,
It happened.
it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we said in, I think it might have been week 2, once we'd looked at the numbers, that Joe was going to run away with this series. He's won it. It's over.
Yeah. It's over.
yeah.
That's coming out in the final game.
It really is over now.
We have 3 things we know is going to happen. He's going to be in the final. Mm-hmm. We're seeing that quick step again, whether he chooses it or the judges do. And he's going to win, isn't he? Like, that's it. Joe and Diane are going to be the winners. And to be fair, controversial statement, this was the dance of the night, and this deserved the first 40 of the year, because I absolutely loved this routine from start to finish.
It made my heart grow 3 sizes.
It was a proper quick
beautiful.
step. He performed, he was a showman, his rise and fall wasn't jerky like it has been in the last few weeks. Like, all the bits I found wrong in his ballroom, and just him being a bit stilted and stiff and needing to relax, he did this week. He was relaxed, he was flowing beautifully through the music and through the rise and fall, he was leading, and something we haven't picked up on is that the Blackpool Tower floor is totally different to the Strictly floor, mainly because it's a sprung floor, and that totally changes how you dance, and doing a quick step on it, even harder. And he did a fantastic job from start to finish, and it was great, and I'm really happy for him. But yeah, this is just confirms that Joe will be in the final. We're seeing that again, and he's probably going to win now.
And his nan. Oh, his nan. Bless her.
Who could be brought out again for the final, guys?
Yes.
You make it sound like she's to storage.
Family are not props.
Family's for life, not just for Strictly. But no, that was lovely. I don't think I can say anything else.
I loved Diane's dress. And it was so nice to see Joe in the tailcoat. Marvellous.
Was it just me, or were his tails just a tiny bit too long? I felt like he was almost in danger of stepping on them sometimes.
I didn't really notice. I was just too busy smiling, going, he's doing the things I've asked him to do for several weeks.
He's doing the thing.
Well, yeah, I only really noticed it at the beginning, and then I kind of, the dance, and then I was like, oh. But it was just the thing that came back to me looking at a photo of their outfit, and I was like, oh yes, I felt like that his tail was really long.
No, it was very much up my street. I think they'd positioned the other pros sufficiently far apart that you didn't look too hard at whether he was exactly matching the other male pros.
Yes.
I think they also worked with the cameras well, because there was a lot of like high shots as well, which looked lovely, but it also may have disguised that. I also did notice that the backing dancers for this dance more than any others were dressed completely different to Diane. Like the other pros have matched Charles and Giovanni in their outfits. Diane looks totally different to the other two. It was very much I'm the Beyonce and this is Kelly and Michelle behind me sort of situation, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness!
Well, she was definitely wearing the dress of a Coco Cabana showgirl.
It was amazing.
Yeah, and this is why when I saw them dancing to Dancing Fool, this is why I thought it would definitely open because of the opening line of "Welcome to the Coco Cabana," and obviously they changed it to "Welcome to the Tower." It just sounded like, well, you're introducing the night then. So I'm surprised this didn't open the show.
But if you switch round this for Stacey and Kevin's routine, it doesn't work because Stacey and Kevin's routine is a bit too all over the shop. Yeah,
and it is. Yeah, that was very high energy to gear up a crowd. So I'm guessing that was that was a pretty hard decision. Maybe they saw what each dancer was going to do, and then they made that decision because.
Or it could have even been a logistical decision about.
I think
where
the
to put
props
giant
might have come
props.
in.
Yeah.
Because the two people who came down from the ceiling were quite early. Because you had Stacey, and then you had Kate.
I think we should stop coming down from the ceiling. I think I think
logistical.
we should stop doing that now. It's no longer special.
No.
I think we could come up with another ridiculous gimmick.
Live animals. Actual Blackpool donkey.
There's a specific rule in the Eurovision handbook that says no live animals, which makes me think that somebody tried it, because there's only specific rules like that if somebody has tried it.
Well,
But yet there's still no rule about setting your piano on fire.
Or a hamster wheel.
No, well, there's no rule, but it's done with a capital D. But yes, we were worried last week about Joe not improving fast enough to warrant a place in the final, because we thought that might sort of collapse his storyline. But Joe is right back on course. We thought he would get a 10 at Blackpool. Did a bit better than that. I'm just really happy.
Yeah. I was really dubious when they announced that he was going to be in, but I'm really enjoying him.
I also am just obsessed with the reaction clip on the BBC Strictly Insta feed where Diane is like squealing about their scores and how well he did, and Joe's just completely distracted because he's just smelt her hair, and he's just going, Diane, you smell really nice.
It's a little worrying.
It also was nice to see Diane able to dance at Blackpool as well, because she's never had done, and to get a 10 as well must have been really special for her, so that was really nice to see as well.
Yes, a lovely evening all round. On to victory, Joe. Dancing the jive and giving you a bag of free scraps from the fryer with your fish supper. It's Ashley Roberts and her partner, Pasha. Now, who would have thought we would see a pussycat doll and a Russian Latin and ballroom champion doing a slapstick routine with salt and vinegar behind the counter of a glittery fish and chip shop?
Well, it's Strictly and Pasha Kovalev, so I could have seen that coming.
Well,
This is also the man who did a jive dressed as a changing of the guard person outside Buckingham Palace.
Was weird.
And then a jive as Shrek. There is the weird scale does not exist for Pasha and jive.
And weird jives. Pasha and the Weird Jives. That's my new band.
The backing band.
But like we were saying about Ashley's kooky, weird personality, it fits.
Yep.
And we do like a transformative jive on Strictly, but I don't think that anybody really needed to transform their opinion of Ashley as a dancer, because we knew she was a really good dancer, and the transformative jive usually happens early on, not at week 9. And
yeah.
Obviously it was really good, and I applauded, and it's really good to see somebody do something really, really well, but it was also not a surprise. I was really impressed by the bit of business with the salt and vinegar, weirdly.
I mean, it did match up perfectly, the music.
Whereas I felt I should have been more surprised by the immaculate jive.
I mean, was it good? Yes. Would I give it a 40? No, because her legs were too rigid and there was too much skirt wafting.
But somebody had to get a 40 this week.
I know, and we did say it would be Ashley because she's had 3 weeks of being 39,
and
so
Joe couldn't
imminent.
Go straight to a 40.
I mean, it would have been funny if she did. I'd have laughed a lot.
No, we've got to have some drama about whether Joe is going to win or not.
Some smoke and mirrors, okay. It was fine. Like, there were some elements I liked. It was a good jive. I won't knock that, but yeah, she was.
It was the fireworks at the end of the Blackpool illuminations.
And since you pointed out the skirt holdy waftiness the other week, I have not been able to stop being annoyed at skirt holdy waftiness. That's not. In fact, The Strictly on the Sofa podcast team posted the clip of Shirley and Corky Ballas doing a competition jive. I think it might have been an exhibition one because I'm fairly sure there were some non-standard steps in it, including one where Corky was like doing the running man but sort of horizontal on the floor.
Okay.
And I forget where I'm heading with this, except that yeah, there was no skirt wafting in that because Shirley wasn't really wearing a skirt.
I mean, there was a lot of skirt wafting time to Shake Your Tail Feather.
I wouldn't.
Which is a lyric that turns up a lot, obviously, in a song called
Shake Your Tail Feather.
Shake Your Tail Feather.
Would it have been considered not jive for her to have twerked?
Twerking's more the Charleston.
No, she could have got away with that. She could have easily got away with that. But again, they could do it in their salsa or their samba, which, they've got one of them next week. Which one is it? Oh, I've forgotten. Samba. I don't know how to feel about that.
She's allowed to bring out the twerking and the booty popping for the samba, if she wants.
And she will. I'm sure she will, because that is like a pussycat doll move, so I'm sure we'll see it.
But it does feel grimly inevitable that she's going to put all this effort in and show us all of these amazing things. And like we're doing right now, the public is going to go, you can keep it. We'll go for the plucky lad from the West Country instead.
Yeah, but it works as a show reel for West End auditions.
Yeah, because that's always been the aim for Ashley, to improve the quality of her bookings in the UK.
Yeah, so I don't think she'll be heartbroken about not winning. I think she's almost certainly into the final.
And I would probably enjoy going to watch her on the tour as well.
So what are we thinking? Is it a 4-person final this year?
Yeah, because we've not had any withdrawals.
Yeah. Withdrawals. So Stacey, Faye, Jo, Ashley.
Possibly swap Faye out for Charles, depending on how obvious they are.
That won't happen. I mean, I know they're trying to push Charles to be a contender, I think but when it comes to it, which it will probably be Faye and Charles in the dance-off in the semi-final, they will keep Faye. I don't see Faye missing the final over Charles, and if it does happen, I'll be mad.
Well, they do one thing every year that makes us mad.
True.
I will have to get a large bottle of gin for the final.
Drinking game.
And I won't be drinking it with a lot of tonic.
Every time Charles Venn says Charles Venn, drink. Anyway, that was tonight. That was this weekend's dances. We're on the home straight now. Like, Christmas is within smelling distance.
My birthday is even closer.
And yeah, any thoughts on where all this is going? Because I did have that really good chat with Ewan about whether we thought, because this was a question we had in from Erin, is this a good or a bad series of Strictly?
I remember listening to this and thinking about this question, and it's very much how you perceive it. It's good in the sense that the good dancers are surviving over the weaker ones, so we're having a very high standard of content every week. But it's, on the flip side, it's negative because we've had a lot of external interference. We've had a lot of, a lot of external interference, definitely, which has marred it slightly.
There's been things that have made me feel bad.
Yeah,
yes.
and it hasn't felt very competitive yet. That's the problem. And it hasn't. It feels like some people are still not sure this is a competition, and I want everyone to sort of realise that this is now the final 7, and it's a competition, and only one person can win. Like, I'm all for them being friends and being nice, but we haven't. There's no one having that sort of like, are they going to win? Are they going to win? Battle at all?
No, it feels like we're very slowly watching a giant ship dock, and that ship is Joe's televote.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's not been like an Ore moment where like a guy you weren't really expecting ends up in the final and winning. And there hasn't really been like a sort of major upset in the sense of, say, someone who could have been a contender, going out. I mean, there was a lot of scandal this year, but to be honest, Sean was never going to get much further than he did.
No.
So,
and here's the thing: like, none of the contenders have even been in the dance-off. We're now into week 10, and there's only 2 left who have done a dance-off, and that is Charles and Graham. The other 5 have not been near it.
There's been...
Which is bizarre.
There's been a lot of chaos, but there's not been a lot of jeopardy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been no edge-of-the-seat moments for a lot of the contestants, because you always know that their televotes are going to prevent that, basically.
Or maybe we're just now too close to the belly of the beast, and we've spoiled it for ourselves.
Maybe. I mean, it does feel like it's going to be Graham versus Charles next week, 'cause it does seem like they have the lowest televote, which then, once one of them goes, it's going to be really interesting, because, Lauren, she's behind, like, this week especially, she was way down there, but she still survived. So she's the televote I'm most intrigued about, because I was fully expecting her to be in that dance-off. I was fully expecting to say goodbye to Lauren this week and expecting her to like go out on a high almost so she could really nail it in the dance-off. But she survived. So I'm very intrigued as to how strong her televote is and where it's coming from.
Lauren still has some absolutely massive dancers left. She's still got an American Smooth, a tango,
a salsa,
samba, rumba.
Ooh, maybe a rumba next week would be nice from Lauren.
Yeah, but she would have to sort out the tension in the legs. But I could see a Stacey versus Lauren dance-off at some point.
Oh, I could.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I had marked for this week. I thought Graham's popular, Kate's popular. I'm not sure how strong Lauren's is, but I'm sure Kate's is stronger. Stacey's in that danger zone. I was fully expecting Stacey versus Lauren.
Do you know, I think Stacey might be saving her Charleston up for musicals week.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten we still have that ahead of us.
Probably to Chitty Chitty Bang Bang then? Thinking of a musical Charleston, it's probably Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Or something from Bugsy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We could have been anything that we wanted
actually,
to be.
Let me look through my list of fandoms and we'll see if Kevin can find any more soft underbelly to poke me at.
I'm going to have to make sure I have a large bottle of gin in for musicals week.
Well, we don't know it's definitely going to be a Charleston on musicals week.
Well, just musicals week in general.
Well, yeah. You could have ABBA on that as well. In fact, somebody should be dancing to ABBA every week.
ABBA week. Oh, we should have an ABBA week though.
Well, we need
Cher can come in and do the performance.
We definitely need a Eurovision week because of the only 5 Eurovision songs ever making it onto Strictly. We need to sort that out. Anyway, before we all run out of energy and before we change the format of Strictly even further, let's do Frock of the Week. I feel like dancing. Elliot, who's your nomination?
Lauren, I actually really loved her dress, and I liked the fact that it was burgundy for 2/3 of it, and then there was the panel of the light red.
Okay.
And I loved her hair as well. So Lauren.
Meg?
Oh, I'm torn between Kate and Diane, but I think Diane's pips it.
Well, that's good because I'm voting Diane as well, so that makes Diane winner of Frock of the Week.
That's the second week running she's got that, hasn't she?
Yes, because she was wearing wearing the neon rainbow. Yeah, I think Diane is now tied with Vic for Frocks of the Week over the series.
And Stacey, because Stacey won for her foxtrot and her sandal look as well.
So we've got 3 on 3 Frocks of the Week.
Ooh,
excellent.
And I can't remember if there's anything else we do in this show. I
don't think so. That's our usual bit of admin.
Yes.
We're on the come down from all the Blackpool rock now.
It's been a very busy week, and
I moved
You moved
house.
I
Oh,
I
gosh.
finished off my kitchen and then went to look at a massive engine down a mine. So I think we'll see what wreckage emerges from the aftermath of Blackpool, and I guess we'll say good night. Good night, Meg.
Good night.
Good night, Elliot.
Good night.
Everybody. Keep dancing.